Grüezi miteinander. Hello, my name is Eve, and today I'm going to talk to you about what I love and don't love about living in Switzerland, especially Basel. So what I love about living in Switzerland is that food does not have so many ingredients in it. It doesn't have all these chemicals and food color and preservatives that food actually molds here. It really helps reduce food waste because you're thinking, am I really going to eat this tomorrow? So I've actually haven't gained a single pound and I eat like crazy. In fact, I lost weight. So it really shows you how much sugar and crap is in food in America. And what's crazy in America, in order to buy food that doesn't have crap and preservatives and food color in it, you have to pay so much money for. That's why when I was in America, I baked everything. I made my own pancakes and froze it. I made waffles and froze it. I made muffins and so on, and I froze it. And most of the time I had to reduce the sugar in most American recipes because they just love sugar in America. Look at this label and look at all those crappy ingredients that are not doing you any good that are in the food. What I also love about Switzerland is that there are so many unique stores here. I wanted to get Pokemon cards that were in German for my children, and I found a store that sold Pokemon cards in German. So there are so many cool family-owned shops in Switzerland. One of the things I do miss about America are the doctors. I think in San Francisco, in California, they are the best of the best doctors in the world. One of the things I do like about living in Switzerland is that if you are injured, you're not like going to go bankrupt because you were injured in Switzerland. In America, you are literally one accident from being bankrupt. Like one huge accident can literally bankrupt somebody. Or an ambulance ride is like $800 or something insane. So that's one of the things I do like about Switzerland. There are so many basic medicines that you would normally find in an American pharmacy or a Target over the counter. You actually need a prescription for a lot. So that means more people are not medicating themselves, which I think is good. But on the opposite end, sometimes the things that they have with a prescription order, you're like, that's the most basic thing. Why do I need a doctor's prescription for it? One thing I don't like about Switzerland is that people assume just because you're brown, you're either Spanish or Mexican. There are all kinds of people that are brown that are not Spanish or Mexican, and there are people that will full out speak Spanish to me and they won't stop speaking Spanish to me even though I start speaking English or German or Swiss German to them. So that's one of the things I don't like. Most of the time I have a pretty good sense of humor about it. In California, we had 3 bins. We had a recycling bin, we had a greens bin, which was compost, and we had a trash bin. We just separated it into 3 bins and a truck would come and empty everything out. But here, you just gotta go out of your way constantly to recycle. There's a coffee pod bin. There's PET bin for plastic bottles, glass, brown glass, white glass, aluminum, and so on. You know, there's also cardboard pickup. And then there's compost pickup. There's just so many things and you have to look at the schedule constantly, and it's just, I like California the way they recycle. It's easy, it's fast, I don't have to think about it, and they have a machine that sorts everything. So I don't know, it just seems like somewhere that's so advanced, it wouldn't be this crazy to recycle something. Another thing I don't like is how people sometimes will change the language. So you are making every effort as someone coming from a different country to learn the language, to act more Swiss, and so on, to try to integrate. But then when you're trying to speak Swiss German to people, they will switch to English. But then those people are the exact people that complain about people not speaking Swiss German and not integrating into Swiss society. So maybe you're part of the problem when you switch. Now, I'm not talking about if you're having a medical emergency and someone's struggling to speak. Yeah, at that point, you can speak English to them. But if you see someone struggling, you should ask them first before switching the language. and say, hey, if you want to speak Swiss German, that's great if you need the practice, but if you would rather speak English, do you want to? What do you want to do? So I don't like when people switch to English because I'm doing so much to learn Swiss German, and in order to learn Swiss German, I have to practice Swiss German. But if someone switches to English, how am I supposed to practice my Swiss German? Random things I love about Switzerland is the iron. So check out this iron. I don't know if they have this in America, but this ironing board holds the cord so it won't get in your way. Love that. I love the mixer. It's not this wiggly, wiry, it's super strong when you're making cookies. I love this attachment to this mixer. What I love about Swiss people is their brutal honesty, and I love when, if you're exaggerating, they say, no, that's not right. Like, they don't like exaggeration as much as Americans do. So another thing I love about Switzerland was back in my 20s and throughout childhood, you constantly had to pay for toilets, except on trains. That was the only place you could go for free. But now I'm seeing at parks, they're free. There are so many places you can go for free bathrooms. So I love the fact that so many toilets are free, because as an American, that is the weirdest thing, having to pay to use the toilet. Another thing I love about Switzerland are the parks. The parks are epic here, and it's real wood, it's high quality, it's so much fun. The parks in California where we were living were pretty epic and amazing too. But I do love the parks here in Switzerland. There's so many interesting parks, they're so unique. So I love that there's something for every age. What I love about Basel is that you can go on so many day trips. It is so easy to go to a day trip to Zurich for the day, or to Lucerne, or to a mountain. So there's so many things you can do, especially outside in Switzerland, and museums, of course. But you will never be bored in Switzerland. Every weekend you will have something to do, and they love festivals here. They're constantly having festivals. I mean, every other week I feel like there's a festival that's close by. They're like, oh, are you going to this festival? Are you going to that festival? I was like, there's so many festivals here. You never have to leave Basel if you don't want to. But right now we're at the stage where we are still new to Switzerland. We are still new to Basel. We want to go everywhere because we don't have to worry about taking a 10-hour flight from California and then traveling here. We are so close. So we are taking advantage of living in Basel. We are trying to go to 14 countries while we are here. And if we are permanently here, we'll probably settle down a little bit. But since we're here, we are taking advantage of being so close to so many different countries, and we are so excited to travel. Growing up, my dad was so impatient. Like, if he had to wait 5 minutes at a grocery store, he would complain. He would go, ugh, and I found it so embarrassing. I was like, why does he always do that? Like, why can't he just be patient? But when trains here are so efficient and they apologize for being 1 or 2 minutes late, I can see why people become very impatient, because they're so used to everything being on time, being fast, being efficient. But the lack of patience in people really just, I'm beside myself how impatient and how quick people here are to complain about something. I'm like, you can't wait 2 minutes, like, chill out. So that's one of the things that kind of annoy me here, is that people are so impatient, but I totally understand why they are that way. I also love here how safe it is. I never have to worry about a school shooting. I know that they are safe in school. I never worry about their safety in school. It doesn't even come up in my brain. In America, I worried about that every single day. And when my children started going to 2 separate schools, I was like, thank God, because now I know I won't lose both of them if there's a school shooting. I mean, that's crazy to me that I even have to think like that. So I was at Migros the other day, and there was this man in front of me, and he had a bunch of points. So he got these free toys, which are like these tops that kids spin, and my boys love these tops. And he had a bunch of them, and he said, oh, do you have children? Do you want these? And so I was like, yeah, thank you so much. There are so many nice people here that are so willing to help you and that are so kind, and they see you struggling, they will try to help you. And I really do appreciate that about living here in Switzerland. People, for the most part, are very kind. And of course, I love the mountains. I love hiking in Switzerland. I love all the outdoor activities. I love the school system. The school system here is phenomenal. I mean, my children are getting the highest quality education here. They have the most amazing professionals at this school. So if my child is struggling a little bit, for instance, in German, they will get a teacher instantly to work with my child in a private session or a small group session. I never have to worry about my children's education here. So one thing I really love about Switzerland is the public transportation. So every time you go to a tram or train, it is usually on time. Like most of the time, it's usually on time in my experience. And it's super clean. The train conductors are so incredibly nice. So my son lost a Lego piece in between the seat, and I asked the train conductor, do you have anything I can use to try to get this out? And she simply said, oh, I'll just get it out for you. And she went and she wedged her hand in between that seat and pulled it out. And train conductors really are really incredibly professional and nice. And if you have any questions, they will answer them. So I have really good experiences with train conductors in Switzerland. And the trains are so silky smooth. It's so nice. Usually when I'm in a car, I can't read a book because I get a little like motion sickness from looking at the book, but I never get that on the train. It is so steady and it's not loud. I also love how honest people are. So my son forgot his bag on the tram, and I contacted Basel Lost and Found, and they located it, and I picked it up the next day. So I read so many instances of people losing their wallet or their passport, and then it gets handed in, and then they are contacted, and then they have their stuff after a week. So another thing I love about Switzerland are my Swiss relatives. My Swiss relatives are the nicest, most generous people, and every time we go to their houses, they always make homemade food, and they really make it with love. And I absolutely love my relatives here, and if we ever do leave Switzerland to go back to America, it will be so hard to leave my relatives because they are just really wonderful people, really honest, hardworking people, and they are just so nice. So I'm very fortunate to have the greatest Swiss relatives. I just want to acknowledge the fact that I'm very fortunate to live in Switzerland and to have lived in America. I know many people dream of living in these two countries, and I'm fortunate that I have a citizenship to both countries, and I can live in both countries, and I absolutely love living in America, and I absolutely love living in Switzerland. If you have anything to add about things you like or don't like, leave it in the comments below. And before everyone comes at me, this is from my perspective. I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Vielen Dank.